Pete Sampras, the number 2 seed, as we said, 24 years of age this month. He comes in at 6-1 and now living in Tampa, Florida. Has a record this year of 46 wins, 12 losses, 3 titles, $1.5 million tucked away, victories at Indian Wells, Queens and London, and of course the Wimbledon Championship. Finalist in the Australian. Mark Philippoussis, just a youngster. He'll be 19 in November, ranked number 93 in the world, and has a singles record of 14-12 this year. You can see a big man, 6'4", 202. And his fastest recorded serve, 130 miles an hour. We said that his nickname over in Australia is Scud because of the way he can whack it. His father, Nick, is also his coach, and obviously of Greek ancestry. Here's a look at things now as Byron Black has eliminated Bjorkman. That's a good win for Byron Black, and he'll face Michael Stieck next, who cruised against Scott Draper of Australia. And Todd Martin eliminated Mauricio Haddad of Chile, and Martin will now meet Colombia, pardon me, Haddad from Colombia, and Martin awaits the winner of this match. And Tomas Muster has just ousted Clavet, having been a set down, winning the next 3 despite some blisters on his toes. Got through.
That's a great tournament so far for Byron Black. Both Black and Bjorkman known as doubles players. Byron Black's going to have his hands full against Michael Stieck if he serves the way he did today. Last year's finalist. And Todd Martin, who had a very easy time against Haddad, awaiting the winner of this. And he got to the semis here last year. Has had a disappointing year, so it would be a big moment for him if he was able to go farther than the round of 16 here. Tomas Muster still hanging in there. Lost the first set 6-love to Francisco Clavet. Don't count him out.
No, dangerous guy and a great fighter. Showed that again today. Down a set, bothered with blisters, and still got the win. Philippoussis.
I'm sorry. Can I just add one last thing here, since we have so much time? Jim Courier, who's just gotten on the way against Kenneth Carlson. I hope that he wins that match today and give a chance to play Tomas Muster. That would be very interesting. I was waiting for that match in the quarterfinals of the French Open. Better chance even on hard courts for him if it happens.
Mark Philippoussis about to take the court, and we had a chance to talk to him about his already well-known serve.
I've always worked on my serve when I was young, and I've gone out with my father and we used to serve an hour and a half, an hour a day as hard as I can, and not worry about what was happening, just serve as hard as I can. And I think that built me up to what my serve is now. And I'd like to say that I've got a good forehand too. I'd like to try and get that easy point with a big serve and a forehand to finish off, and that's worked well for me this year.
Into the top 100 in his first year on the tour, ready to serve against Pete Sampras. He has victories this year against Paul Harhus and Todd Martin in the semifinals at Scottsdale. Lost to Jim Courier in the final there. Ousted in the Australian Open first round to Stefan Edberg. 4 sets, pardon me. 7-5 in the fourth. .126 on that fault. Give you an idea of the speed you'll be seeing.
Let's see if he tries to mix up this, whether or not he serves in volleys here. The first point he stayed back. Sampras missed the return. He's missed both returns, but he was coming in on that second serve this time. I can't imagine a guy serving this big and staying back too often. Certainly would like to get a couple easy service games under his belt here. See, that was a second serve at 110 miles per hour. I was very happy to hit a first serve that hard. And it's an easy looking motion. It didn't really look quite that hard. Either IBM is lying.
Oh, I doubt that.
And I know that couldn't happen, of course.
Game, Philippoussis.
Well, he holds to take a 1-love lead. You can't take that away from him, from Pete Sampras.
First game.
First point.
30.
And an ace. 30 love. Well, if you can imagine a 5.5-story box of Fuji film and a gas bag so large, over 42 million tennis balls could fit inside, well, that's what it'll look like. Something like that anyway. Our Fuji blimp. Those beautiful views we bring of the National Tennis Center.
40. And so far, 7 points have been played, and no one's gotten a return back. 4 for Sampras the first game, all on second serves. 3 this game for Philippoussis.
Sampras just delivered a broken ball. It's too bad we had no way of being able to predict what it was going to do, but it took a real weird bounce, and it's out of the match. These guys are beating up on the balls in the first 2 games.
Bring some extra cans. That's a smart move there.
40-15.
Well, you talked about that inside-out forehand. We heard Mark mention that in the opening. But that's what he's got to do, cut off that opportunity.
Game Sampras.
Sampras holds, and we've seen nothing but power here. Just that one nice finesse play by Philippoussis.
1-0.
John, my question to you would be, these two have never played each other. Sampras knows the guy's delivering this tremendous amount of velocity. You're Sampras now. What's Pete trying to do here in terms of return? Is he looking for it, feeling it? What's he doing?
At the moment, he's going to try to do the same thing, I feel, that he normally does. He may have to start doing something different rather soon, but he wants to come out and say, hey, I'm the #2 player in the world. He knows what this guy's about. He's seen him around the last year and a half. He doesn't want to put the thought in Philippoussis' mind that he needs to do something different early on. Now, he could easily take a few steps back, try to even move in, not take a full swing. Philippoussis is going to, what appears, to mix up his serve volley routine. A lot of different options. But not a lot of time to decide, that's for sure. So all the years of hard work pay off. It just kind of becomes instinct and natural.
15-0.
And that's what Philippoussis has to be very careful as we look at Tony Roach, the great Australian player. Rod Laver completed his Grand Slam in '69, beating Tony in the finals. There's another ace by Philippoussis. They had to play that match in '69 on the Monday following, because it rained Sunday, and it was about a third full, the crowd, for Laver's completion of the Grand Slam. So tennis has come a long way. Laver, my idol, and perhaps the greatest player of all time.
Just long for 40-15 for Philippoussis.
Well, Tim, you're right. You can tell Sampras trying to feel him out, see how much power he really has. He's not really gone after the ball yet. Playing a little tentative right now. It's like the first round of a boxing championship fight.
Game Philippoussis.
Sampras thought it was wide, but the call is good. CBS Sports continues after this word from your local station. #2 seed Pete Sampras, Wimbledon champion, against young Australian Mark Philippoussis.
Low 15.
On serve at 2-1 here in the first set. 1-2 Sampras serving.
I'd like to see Philippoussis try that shot. Try to get in off Sampras' second serve, put some pressure on him. Oh!
Low 30.
Sampras definitely tentative at the moment.
Again, these two have never met.
That's a great recovery by Sampras. That was definitely the biggest point of the match so far.
15-30.
Philippoussis crushed this return. That reach certainly helping him, and Sampras hung tough. Would have been love 40 if he had missed that.
30 all.
Second ace for Sampras.
That love 30 shot was just the shot he needed to loosen himself up a little bit.
40-30. A look at some NFL scores. Cincinnati over Indianapolis. Cleveland leading New England in the third. Houston and Jacksonville in its first year. And Atlanta leading the other new team. San Francisco on top of New Orleans in the third.
Game Sampras.
Sampras holds. On serve we are at 2-all in the first set.
2-all.
Well, tomorrow we'll be back at 12:30 Eastern Time with more action for you. Andre Agassi, Monica Seles will be among those you'll be watching tomorrow afternoon here on CBS Sports. Tampa Bay and the Eagles in a squeaker in the third. And St. Louis on top of Green Bay also in the third quarter.
Love 15.
Steelers lead the Lions in fourth by 3.
And that's what I was talking about in the open. He's got to pick his spots and know when to go after the ball. That was clearly not the time to try to hit that big backhand. Wasn't prepared to do so. Maybe should have just chipped and come in. Certainly the biggest match of this youngster's career by far.
Yes.
He's got to be feeling some pressure, some tension. So certainly has nothing to lose at this point.
15 all.
Jim Courier has jumped quickly to a 6-3 win in the first set of his match against Kenneth Carlson.
We're going to have to point out each time there's some finesse in this match.
Right. Well, watching his match against Goldner, it was just a series of bomb throwers. You didn't really get to see much of the way of rallies or a chance to assess his ability to hit the ball off the ground. But we've seen a couple of good groundies here.
Definitely something youngsters can learn from. You hear him talk in the opening about how he used to go out with his father, serve an hour and a half every day and hit it as hard as he possibly could. That's a smart thing to do. Everyone should go out and try to do that. Not worry when you're young about where it's going. It only matters when you get to the pros. You know that must have been what Agassi did when he was a kid. Hit every ground stroke as hard as he possibly could.
Yeah, started in his bassinet by all accounts.
Boy, we have pictures of him at 3 years old, right, with Jimmy Connors at Vegas, and he hit the ball very clean even then.
Philippoussis holds on. We remain on serve at 3-2. From Melbourne, ranked number 93 in the world in his first year on the Pro Tour.
Hit that return about 4 or 5 feet behind the baseline, and Sampras caught that late, so he's got some pace on that forehand as well. Sampras was involved in a similar situation a couple years ago in Australia when he played a then totally unknown Yevgeny Kafelnikov, beat him 9-7 in the fifth. Kafelnikov now in the top 10, although he came up with a weak effort last night.
Sampras just waiting for that one in exactly the right position. The ball coming to him.
30.
Well, another big point for him down love 30. Last game as well. Philippoussis with the edge so far. Good win for Vince Spadia, though. Good solid player.
Over Kafelnikov last night, indeed. Didn't get much of a fight from Kafelnikov, but yes, a big win for an American player. Ace.
30 over.
Sampras, his third.
Well, my brother had a big 5-set win. He'll play Daniel Vacek tomorrow. Boris Becker looking good. Mark Rosset with his best result here.
Spadia gets Peter Korda next.
40-30.
It's hard to imagine not seeing Andre Agassi in the semis. Good tournament for Jared Palmer, better known as a doubles player. Peter Korda, who struggled last year or two. It's good to see him back in the top level of the game, and that's the gentleman we talked about just before, Vince Spadia, with a good win over Kafelnikov. Still got to win those matches.
Yes, indeed. 124-mile-an-hour fault from Sampras.
I love that overhand.
Sampras. He loves it too. Nice way to close a game. Watch him climb it.
Well, he didn't have to do this, but you can see he timed it so that he could do it. The old scissor kicks overhead. And this is, as I've said before, a white guy who can jump.
And it's a bit of a statement to the young Australian as well.
First serve.
3-all first set on serve. Nothing approaching a rally as yet. May never see one in this match.
It depends what you consider a rally. How many strokes do you define a rally now?
4 miles an hour apart in their velocity contest.
15.
All Sampras wanted to do there was make Philippoussis hit that shot. We see Mark's dad, Nick Philippoussis.
Still coaches him. Of course, now he has the resources of the Australian Davis Cup people like Tony Roach, John Newcomb.
And guess who else he's got in his corner? Nick Bollettieri, of all people.
I think that's a recent acquisition, and of course, Nick with a lot of success.
Just for this CBS match today. I don't do that cable stuff. I only
30.
Well, he lost Becker recently, and now he's picked up another big heavyweight. This one from Australia.
Mary Pierce upset in the second round, I believe, or third round, and so he had some free time on his hands.
30-15.
That's where he needs to stand a little bit closer. That's making it tougher for himself to stand that far behind the baseline and try to crush forehands. It's okay to do that sometimes, but when you have a time to move 2 or 3 steps closer, do it and then hit the same shot. Like he did just there.
40-15.
He heard you. 40-15. What do you think of his motion from what you've seen, John?
Nice classical motion. Maybe he could do a little bit better job bending his knees. Not quite as much as Boris Becker does, but free-flowing, easy-looking motion.
40-30.
I've seen that twice now, where he's trying to crush the backhand instead of perhaps just chipping and charging, making Sampras hit the pass. Something he should learn in time. If he's lucky, he should learn it today. .6'4", it may be difficult to bend those knees too much more. And he may not have to with that angle up that high. Nice luxury.
Interesting to see you talking to an early big man of the game just about an hour ago, Victor Amaya.
It's good to see Vic. Many years hadn't seen Victor. Huge server at 6'7". and the game certainly took its toll on him. He's had one hip replacement and one more on the way. So this isn't football, but it isn't easy.
Well, we've seen that develop into a contact sport every now and then. 2 double faults for the young Australian. 3. And a break point first of the match. Three all here in the first set. The number 2 seed, Wimbledon champion, Pete Sampras against Mark Philippoussis.
See what happened missing that one backhand, up 45. Next thing you know, break point down with the second serve here, and 2 straight doubles under his belt. He used a kick serve here, so-called American twist. Get that ball up high in Sampras's backhand. That's a tough shot for a one-hander to hit. Pete's strong, but that is not an easy shot. And well done by Philippoussis to get back to deuce. He's definitely tightened up here.
Second break point.
He's got to jump on those short balls. Can't wait for him like he did there. That ball he tried to hit below the net.
Saw Sampras look up at the sun, which just suddenly reappeared in all of its glory here. See if it affects the server. Not at all.
The weather has really been great this first week of the U.S. Open. Not the big-time humidity that we usually have here.
Glorious weather. Very hot summer in New York, as there has been in much of the East, and everybody here hopes that maybe it's gone and we're into early fall, but it's been absolutely perfect for these players. We're at deuce, 3-all, first set.
Well, that serve was, the second serve was 1 mile per hour harder than the first. 111 mile per hour second serve. Handcuff Pete there.
Well fought by the 18-year-old, hanging on against 2 breakers. 4-3.
Philippoussis leads 4-3.
Tim Ryan with John McEnroe on the stadium court. Mark Philippoussis of Australia leading 4-3 on serve over Pete Sampras in the first set.
15 love.
Philippoussis trying to stage some Greek drama. Sampras trying to turn it into a lapper. So far unable to do so. 30 love.
Apparently, besides Athens, Melbourne has the second biggest Greek population.
40.
Outside of Greece, I should say. So he looked up to Pete Sampras as a youngster who also has some Greek heritage in him.
Indeed.
The crowd not knowing what to make of this match yet either. Waiting for something to happen. It's hard to relate to this type of pace and power for the average person.
Well, sure.
I can't relate to it. I'm supposed to know what I'm talking about.
longest rally, and Philippoussis prevailed.
40-30.
Well, you heard the crowd ooh and on a couple of those forehands. Started appreciating that.
Game Sampras.
Sampras holds. And rec 4-all. Let's go to Andrea Joyce, who's somewhere outside the stadium. Where are you, Andrea?
Well, guys, as always, Gabriella Sabatini has created a real traffic jam out here in the grounds of the National Tennis Center. She's signing autographs at the WTA booth. What is it about you in New York?
Well, I don't know. It's great, huh? What a great feeling. Yeah.
It's terrific. A couple hundred people out here. If the seeds hold up, you'll face Arantxa in the quarterfinals. How do you see that match?
Well, Arantxa has to play tonight, against Mary Jo. So I think, both of them are pretty tough. I played with them before, and the second week is going to start now. So I'm going to have to be really tough, and
you'll just have to bring all these folks with you.
Exactly. Yeah. I just invite them all to come here.
Best of luck. Back to you guys.
Has she actually got some tickets available? Mark Philippoussis is serving here. All these folks hanging around that booth where Gabriella's signing autographs. Good promotion on the part of the Women's Tennis Association to have their stars out there. Inside, a future star by everybody's estimation, battling Pete Sampras. Mark Philippoussis is 30-15 at 4-all here in the first set.
He hasn't shown a whole lot of early nerves.
No, he hasn't.
Seems comfortable out in the center court of the U.S. Open. Not yet 19 years old.
Well, when the sun came out, so did the headgear. Does kind of look like the Flying Nuns. Habit hat. Whatever works.
Once again, I need to correct myself, Tim. I said the other day that Pete Sampras was the only player that took one ball at a time, like all the ladies on the circuit. Well, I found number 2 right here, Mark Philippoussis. These two guys figure they only need one. Don't like the balls in their pocket.
Game Philippoussis.
Wide, so Philippoussis holds. 5-4 first set. Mark Philippoussis on the stadium court at the USCA National Tennis Center. Third round action.
Love 15.
Scores the same over in that stadium. Oakland leading the Yankees in the top of the 6th.
Yankees one game under 500 in the pennant chase.
You have to have a blimp to get the shot in the Bronx from Queens. That's the only way you can get that shot.
What kind of blimp?
You have to have a Fuji blimp. Thank you, John.
I'll take the breaks from now on. All right, you do the analysis.
30-15.
He's got a long reach, but not that long. Try to pull that wide serve wide to Sampras' forehand, but to no avail. There's a nice touch there. Looked like he was going to try to crush that backhand. Decided to come over, hit heavy topspin. Plenty of time here. Good early preparation. Flicks that wrist. Dips cross court for winner. Figured you're looking at a clock. You're hitting that right at the top. 12 o'clock. If you want to slice, go down to 6.
I haven't heard it described like that before. It's interesting. 40-30 Sampras, trying to even at 5. Sampras serving at 56% first serve. When he's got it in, you can see he's won the points.
Only about the second point he's lost when he's gotten the first serve in. Chance here for Philippoussis at deuce. Just stretched to hit that return. Pete hit it right back to him. He didn't have to move at all for that pass. It's a good play to try to go behind your opponent, but in that case, Philippoussis didn't have to move at all.
This game, we've seen a look at some of his ground strokes, and they look like they're varied and effective.
Well, he's got a good all-around game. He can volley. He's a fairly good mover for a big guy. It's a question of picking your spots, knowing when to go after the ball and when to take something off it. Knowing when to attack. If I were him, I'd attack more often at that size.
Long. Sampras holds. We're even at 5. First set.
But Mark clearly more comfortable in the backcourt hitting groundies and coming in a lot. Doesn't seem to chip and charge too often. Done that a couple times. You see he's got a big forehand, a good backhand. Another guy like Pete Sampras, perhaps, who thinks he's better from the ground than a volleyer, so he chooses to stay back off the serve. And that may explain why.
15 long.
I always thought it was easier if you got closer to the net and had the angle, just volleyed if you can. But if you got a forehand like Philippoussis, you have another option available. That's a great angle there. Smart, intelligent play by the youngster there. Once again, it looked like he was going to really go after this. Instead, he flicks that cross court again. No chance for Pete Sampras.
Forty love, Mark Philippoussis, trying to get to 6-5. We've had only 2 break points in this first set.
And that's not a good first serve percentage. Once again, he's probably only lost 1 point when it's gone in.
Game Philippoussis.
He holds. 4 aces. 6-5.
Philippoussis leads.
Mark Philippoussis 6-5. Another beautiful shot from the Fuji blimp.
Thirty love.
30 love. Now there's the captain's flying the big ship, almost as long as the stadium court here. Is that John Newcomb there on the left? Got that mustache.
40 love.
And that's a different viewpoint.
I know he's up high here for Australian television. I think he was that high. He's up at the top of the stadium court here in the international broadcast booths. Sampras quickly to 40 love. Looks like we're headed for tiebreaker territory.
Game Sampras.
Tiebreak time. 12-point tiebreak. First player to reach 7 by 2 points will be the winner of the tiebreak and the winner of the first set. Philippoussis will serve once, and they'll alternate 2 serves each after that.
And this is where the experience should pay off for Pete Sampras. He's been in this position a lot more times than this youngster from Australia. However, it is the first set, so he's not going to feel the same type of pressure as he would later in a match. Both players over 500. Pete with the clear edge.
Good return on that high bouncer.
1-0.
I've said this before. That is a tough shot to handle for a one-handed backhand. One-handed backhanded player, and Pete very strong up there, works awful hard off the court. Pat Etcheberry, his off-court trainer, has done an excellent job with Pete over the years. And that's where it pays off.
Sampras thought he clearly had a center line service ace. You don't often see him that demonstrative, and he just felt clearly that he had seen it down the line.
Guy went crazy, and I created a monster.
It went wild.
Well, it was on the line.
With due cause.
So instead of being up 2-love, it's 1-all after hitting his 4th double fault. Bad break for Sampras there. That was a replay where you could clearly see it was right on the line.
Delaney Mulcahy, Pete Sampras' girlfriend. It's pretty calm at this point, knowing her Wimbledon champion should be the heavy favorite here, but being tested.
She's watched a few matches the last few years.
An experienced viewer.
It looks like Michael Chang jumping in the air while you hit a forehand. If you're going to jump in the air while you hit it, make sure you're moving forward when you do it.
Philippoussis.
The powerful forehand from Philippoussis.
Well, that's where it helps to be 6'4". Ball kicked up high, no problem whatsoever for Mark there. That's what you need to do against big players. Keep the ball low, force them to bend a lot, especially in these long best-of-5 set matches. Wear them down. Big inside-out forehand there by Philippoussis.
4-2 Philippoussis.
Paralyzed Pete here. First, a good deep turn there. Runs around the backhand. Sampras never moves. He's got that big backswing, Tim, like you mentioned.
Huge, yeah.
You better time it right. And a strong kick.
Completely different look, of course, than Andre Agassi's very short backswing. 4-2, mini break. Sampras serving. They've changed ends.
In all likelihood, in the next couple of years, you'll see him cut that backswing just a little bit less, like Andre.
Great shot from Sampras.
Good play by both players there.
4-3 Philippoussis.
Here's Philippoussis, comes in off the return here. Pete, make sure he doesn't miss this pass. Keep it nice and low. And he knows even if Philippoussis gotten that back, he was ready for the next shot.
4-3, Philippoussis serving. First to 6, remember. The margin of 2 is the tiebreak.
5-3
First to 7, pardon me. 5-3.
Opportunity here to win the first set. Big confidence booster if he can get by this. 3 set points for Mark Philippoussis.
Yeah. So often he does that.
6-4 Philippoussis.
6 aces now for Pete Sampras.
see what Philippoussis does on his first serve. If he goes for the big bomb, tries to end it, or maybe take something off and get into net.
Thank you. Game in first set, Philippoussis, 7-6.
Philippoussis wins the first set. Let's go to the grandstand. Jim Nance.
Take a look at his set point here. Philippoussis with the second serve. Sampras appears to think this ball is going out. You see him hesitate just a little bit here. But watch where it drops. Just on both lines.
Well, that was the winning point in the tiebreak for Philippoussis, and he has a first set.
And there's a lesson to be learned here. Even the top players make mistakes of that nature. You got to play any ball at that stage. 6-5 in the tiebreaker. A little bit of hesitation cost Sampras the set there.
He's 30-15 here, opening game of set number 2. Best 3 of 5, of course, in the U.S. Open all the way through. Down a set to the 18-year-old Australian. Created a buzz in the crowd.
Philippoussis really playing intelligently so far. Within himself, seems to have settled down. Occasionally tries to go for too much, but not that often so far.
Nuclear energy through the first set. The longest rally was 6 shots.
But clearly with this guy's game, he's not uncomfortable playing short points. He's obviously used to it.
Yeah, yes, I think so. But it's been interesting just to see that that he does hit the good ground shots, and as you've pointed out, you'd like to see him come forward more. We haven't seen him volley very much at all.
Well, he plays doubles with Patrick Rafter. They've had some good results. They play the Woodford and Woodbridge here later today, I believe.
And with Ben Elwood, another good-looking young Australian, they won the Wimbledon doubles crown in the juniors last year.
It's a good idea for this youngster to play some doubles now. Try to develop his game further. Positioning, very important in doubles. It'll certainly help Philippoussis in singles down the road.
Game Sampras.
Sampras with an ace, his 8th. Chemistry. Second game of the second set. He's up a set, down love 1. Finalist at Scottsdale this year. 14-12 record for 1995. His first on the Pro Tour. 15 all. Jim Courier, 2 sets up and 1 love up, a break in the third set against Kenneth Carlson. Philippoussis Oldham won. That's a little show of spunk on the part of the 18-year-old.
Pete Sampras 24, but this youngster idolized him growing up, and he's given the Sampras imitation there on the overhead. Vertical leap, not quite as good, but he didn't need to there.
40-50.
Todd Martin safely through. Byron Black, good win. Michael Steek looked very sharp. Deputy Graf handling Chanda Rubin. Gabriela Sabatini eliminating 14-year-old Martina Hingis earlier. (40-30).
Game Philippoussis.
John, not only has he had a lot of pop, but he's been very deep on those first. And when he gets them in, they're very near the line.
And he's also mixing the ball up. That previous point, even though he lost it, he tried to go out wide, place it better. Then he goes for the big one again to the Sampras backhand, doing an excellent job so far in this match of confusing Pete. Pete clearly not comfortable out there yet.
And again, they've never played each other. This match will settle the Greek championship of the U.S. Open no matter what. Informal title will go to one or the other.
Well, the Greeks in good shape then on the tour.
15.
Sampras has got to start doing some double knee jumps or some other form of exercise here to get himself going. He's letting Philippoussis play his game at his speed, it appears. He's got to do something a little bit different just to show, hey, I'm the man. That's a tough thing for Sampras to do because he doesn't want to show the guy that he respects him too much. So he doesn't want to really do anything different, but he's got to do it subtly to himself.
.31.
125-mile-an-hour serve there, and he was coming forward on that one.
Well, the good news for Pete is he's involved in quite a few matches of this nature where there's a lot of hit-and-miss style tennis, big serves, because that's really the way Pete plays. Especially when that serve gets going. You don't get a lot of rallies with Sampras serve.
Kept him in it.
Philippoussis here showing some good effort and athletic ability. Pete clearly should have hit that ball away for a winner, but didn't. Maybe he wants to run Philippoussis a little bit. There's that subtle change I was talking about. But what I meant about Pete being used to this, when he's at Wimbledon, there's days, if not weeks, go by where you don't see a rally.
Sampras holds for 2-1 here in the second set. In the second set, the young Australian
Well, there was almost that rally you wanted.
Oh wait, 6 shots is the longest one so far.
But the body language is there. They were ready to slug it out for a while.
Yeah.
What a nice weapon to have, though. You lose the first point, maybe even the first couple points, just come back with a couple bombs. Both players have that ability out here today.
Jim Courier up a break in the third set against Kenneth Carlson on the grandstand court. Keep you up to date on that one. Number 14 seed Jim Courier.
Let's see him play Tomas Muster. Looking forward to it. Last 2 forehands, Philippoussis' feet with a little bit of glue on them. Not moving his feet. It's the first break point here of the day for Pete Sampras. Take that back. Did have a couple break points in the first set, unable to capitalize, but big opportunity here. Philippoussis coming in on that big inside out forehand, but this time Sampras was ready for it. He said, make sure I'm just going to get this in.
Let's go to Andrea Joyce.
All right, Tim, I'm with Paul Annacone, who's been coaching Pete Sampras for the last several months. It seems like up until now he's been playing pretty tentative.
Yeah, it's obviously tough to play someone like Mark, who's got such a big serve and really tees off on everything. So Pete's struggled to get control of the points, and when you can't get control of the points, it tends to be difficult to control your destiny, which is what he wants to try to do.
Does he need to make some adjustments in the second set, or is it just finding Mark's weakness?
Well, now last return game, he got some more balls back, and he's trying to get some balls. The key is to get some balls back low to his backhand and try to make Mark move around a little bit. Mark's not a great mover yet, and when Mark's standing there, he's able to really tee off on the ball. So if Pete can get some returns back low and move the ball around, he'll be in good shape.
Think that last break will loosen him up a bit?
I think it's got to make him feel good, but I think he realizes it's a long match, and there's a lot of kind of roller coaster twists and turns that can take place, especially against someone like this. So he'll just play one point at a time and see if he can keep it going.
Okay, we'll check with you later. Thanks a lot. Back to you guys.
Sampras 30 love. Thank you, Andrea. First break of the match by Sampras for his 3-1 lead here in the second set. Trying to stretch it to 4-1 here at 30 love.
Well, Pete saw that coming, but that's a tough shot for anyone to hit from that position. Philippoussis had a nice angle on that forehand. Not a high percentage shot for Pete, but he was up 30 love. And he's got that serve to back him up. Paul Annacone pointed out, he's done an excellent job, by the way, coaching Pete Sampras. Philippoussis not really too quick yet around the court. He's got to make Philippoussis work for each and every point. See what type of condition he's in. See how well he hits the ball on the run. Whoa! Not too bad at that.
There's some extension.
He caught that ball a little bit later than he would have liked. Didn't have much on it. And that was a good call for Philippoussis. That was a close call. Maybe caught the outside of the line.
40-30. Andrea talking to Paul Annacone. We want to say hi out there to Tim Gullickson. We know he's looking in. Pete's regular coach. Pete hoping that he'll be back on the tour soon. Tim's brother Tom, very prominent around the tournament. We've seen him several times. There's Tom Gullickson, keeping a close eye on Pete.
Davis Cup captain's got a big match in a couple weeks against Sweden. Pete and Andre, the singles players. Yet to be determined who the doubles team is. With singles players like that, you may not need a doubles team. Good idea by Philippoussis there. Try to go over the high part of the net. That part is about 6 inches higher than the center, so you've got to play it a little bit safer.
No visible nerves on the part of this 18-year-old Australian from Melbourne as yet. Not to crunch time, of course. A long way of that. He's up a set now. But even in the tiebreak, he looked very self-contained.
And that's where I thought Sampras' experience would take over. A couple close calls going against Sampras in this game. Philippoussis still in at deuce. Percentage-wise, it's always the best time to break right after you've been broken. Why is that? Got to figure the other player lets down just a little bit, like Sampras seems to be doing here, and you have more of a desire and you're more desperate to get that right back, so you're not too upset over losing your serve. It's incredible how often it happens.
His 6th double fault and the first break point for Philippoussis.
It's a big, big serve there, though, by Pete Sampras. Huge. It's 126 miles per hour out wide. Philippoussis lucky to get his racket on it there. You got to expect Pete Sampras, who's been around a long time, to know that, though, so doesn't want to lose his concentration here. And the mobility a little bit suspect on that volley. And that's what Sampras wants to do throughout this match. Keep those passing shots low. Don't go for too much. Force Philippoussis to hit a good, solid volley.
Sampras holds. 4-1. Second set.
Sampras leads 4-1.
Tim Ryan and John McEnroe Stadium Court at the USTA National Tennis Center. Mark Philippoussis up a set, down 1-4 in the second against Pete Sampras. 15-love.
15-love.
Well, Sampras set himself up a little bit too early. Philippoussis picked up on it and hit that winner up the line to go to 15-love.
More U.S. Open action tomorrow here, Labor Day. 5.5 hours beginning at 12:30 Eastern Time. And lots of the big stars will be seen in our coverage tomorrow afternoon.
30-15.
Seen enough of this young man to be convinced that he's one of the future stars?
Certainly has the capability of it, no question about that. See how hard he works.
40.
Big serve there. If he is able to stay healthy, if he learns from his losses and his mistakes, he has the opportunity to be a great player. And Courier taking firm control in his match over on the grandstand. Now up 2 breaks in the third set. So it looks very much like he will be meeting Thomas Muster.
Philippoussis on his first year on the tour with victories over Andrei Chesnikov, Jonas Bjorkman, Todd Martin, a big one, semifinal, and beat Vince Spadia, the young American from Chicago who ousted Kafelnikov last night. The win over Spadia came at the tournament in Scottsdale this year.
Very interesting part of the draw there, assuming Courier finishes off that third set to play the number 3 seed. And we also have Michael Chang and Richard Krajicek, the big server from Holland. Be very interesting to see who gets to the semis in that section.
4-2, Sampras lead here, second set. He's down a set. 10 aces now for Pete Sampras.
Sampras looking a little bit more comfortable out there now. Picking up Philippoussis' serve a little bit better. And serving, well, that one just missed. Continuing to serve big. He missed that, but I'd like to see more of that. Mix things up on the second serve. Pete Sampras has got a big second serve with a lot of spin on it, and that was really an easy backhand volley for Pete. Tough shot to hit, but in that particular case, it wasn't really that up that high. Really shouldn't have missed that one.
.30-15.
You notice that some of these ball boys appear to be older than half the players?
They're
Where are they
experienced.
getting these guys?
They're very experienced for the Grand Slam event.
Philippoussis obviously likes that inside-out forehand.
30.
Sampras expected that one to come back to his backhand. Hit that ball too short there. Philippoussis just muscles it up the line. Pete better be careful here. Doesn't want to give this youngster some more confidence.
34.
Big chance for Philippoussis.
And he breaks back. We're on serve again here in the second set. Philippoussis up a set. Love 15, 3-4 here in the second. He won the first set in the tiebreak. And that view from the Fuji blimp. The big blimp can go 70 miles an hour. Wouldn't give you a great picture if it was moving that fast, but if you've got to get somewhere in a hurry, they can do it. Also, kind of like a camel, they can stay up there a long time, 24 hours at a stretch.
That I did not know, Tim. Thanks for that information. How long can camels stay up, by the way?
You've never heard of flying camels? They have them in figure skating events all the time.
.30-15.
30-15, Philippoussis enjoying the poise of this young guy, I think, Mark Philippoussis here in this second set, John.
And also Sampras looking surprisingly concerned. Well, actually, not surprisingly. Actually, you pointed out he was looking a little too relaxed. I thought he had relaxed into feeling like he was about to get going, and it really cost him that last game.
Well, there were two unforced errors, and it gave the break opportunity, and the youngster grabbed it.
That's another factor. Pete only serving at 47%. He needs to pick that up.
Philippoussis holds. We're even at 4. There's his dad, Nick.
Sampras looking a little bit sluggish here. Philippoussis just meeting that pass, hitting it to the open court.
You know, I wonder when they have these kinds of big serve short point duels that you don't really get a chance to get into your rhythm. Is that a fair possibility for an amateur to ask?
That's a great volley. I didn't think it would be a problem because, as I said, at Wimbledon, there's rarely any rallies, and Sampras has won there 3 years in a row. So he's had plenty of practice at this type of match, but maybe on the hard court, it's disconcerting for him.
11 aces now for Sampras, quickly to 30 love.
In all honesty, he's not used to playing a guy that hits the ball harder than he does. It's a rarity.
Delivers another ace, number 12. Well placed in the corner.
Game center.
Sampras holds easily, and CBS Sports coverage of the U.S. Open Tennis Championships will continue after this word from your local station.
Tonight,
Mark Philippoussis, 15-love against Pete Sampras here. They're on serve in the second set. Philippoussis won the first in a tiebreak. His first year on the tour. First time playing Pete Sampras. First time in the Stadium Court at the U.S. Open.
I'd like to see Sampras do more of that. Put some more pressure on this youngster. Make him come up with the goods. That doesn't mean just getting the ball back and letting him unload on that monster forehand. That means putting some real pressure on him. Good, solid approach shots. Maybe slice the ball low to his backhand like we heard Paul Anacone say. Easier said than done when guys are hitting forehands like that. 4 or 5 huge forehands in a row.
30-15.
Pete under defensive the whole point. Finally tries to throw up a lob. He goes back to Pete's backhand. Just too much pace there.
He had driven Sampras back to the wall there with the groundies before this overhit try. 30-15. Good.
40-15.
That was a close call. Could have gone either way. I thought it caught the line myself from this angle.
Well, there's not much of a protest from Pete. Just a little stare at the line. And he was pretty close to where it landed.
Game for the Philippoussis.
Philippoussis showing some nice touch there.
I guess.
5-all.
Sampras had a good return. He had to make 2 good shots to win that point. Let's go to the grandstand.
Jim Courier, far court. A couple of match points. And gets it with the ace. Straight sets over Kenneth Carlson.
3 sets to love.
Tony, what was the difference in this match?
Courier played the best tennis I've seen him play in a couple of years. He was lively. He was energetic. He had a lot of big serves and good forehands. He was a Courier of old.
And next up for Courier, Mooster, the number 3 seed. And let's go back over to the Stadium Court.
Thanks, Jim. Well, the buzz gets a little buzzier over here on the Stadium Court. 5-all. A great finish in the last game by Mark Philippoussis. Sampras serving. 15-love. Elena Mulcahy, who looked more relaxed earlier in the match, showing a little bit of tension.
How can you tell that, Tim?
I
know you've been around a long time.
Well, I've been watching Delana watching a lot of matches.
Good intelligent play by Philippoussis there. Kept that ball nice and low on the pass. Sampras cut it a little too close. 15-30.
We talked about Andre Agassi having his tester against Alex Corretja in the second round, a 5-setter. Saw a little fear in his eyes that night before he pulled it out. Sampras, the number 2 seed, being challenged here by Mark Philippoussis.
Big forehand when he needed it right there. Philippoussis hitting that return a little bit too short. It's Sampras all over it. And that's what I'd like to see him do. Go right after Philippoussis' weapon. Go right to the forehand. Philippoussis is clearly better when he hits the inside out forehand, running around the backhand. 42. Right like he did this last 2 points.
13 aces now for Sampras.
Either flatten it out like he did the 15-30 pointer, keep the ball nice and low, because it's tough for the big guy to come up over those. Or I should say tougher.
Yeah. Doubles to deuce. Number 7. Nick Philippoussis, proud father of this young man, his coach.
Controls his son with an iron fist.
Play paid off for Pete there.
I think what happened to Philippoussis there, he heard the oohs and ahs of the crowd who thought that Sampras backhand was going to go long. So he wasn't prepared to hit it. So that next shot came way too short, and Sampras all over it once again.
Huge serve from Sampras. 6-5 in the second set, down a set. Second serve, first point.
Love 15.
Once again, Philippoussis trying to run around that backhand, crush the forehand. Went for too much there. Sampras doesn't want to go to another tiebreaker. Forehand. Just missed one, the first point by a couple inches, but made a quick adjustment here. Sampras not putting enough on that slice backhand, although it was right inside the baseline, and Philippoussis all over it. Was hoping that was out. It appeared that was in from this angle.
30-15.
Imagine baseball if they had graphite and aluminum bats instead of wood bats. Big difference in the game from, say, 10 years ago or 15 when wood rackets were in. You couldn't hit winners from that far behind the baseline. Guys are getting bigger and stronger. Ball didn't bounce up high enough for the 6'4" Philippoussis to try to hit that type of overhead. And also, he's standing there flat-footed for a little bit too long. You need to give yourself some time to move into the ball. Pete only 2 points from this set.
Now Philippoussis 1 point from the tiebreak.
Seems so unusual when 15 years ago when players weren't as good athletes, weren't as big, and they didn't have the off-court ideas that they do now, the diets. Now all of a sudden they have these rackets on top of everything else. It doesn't make sense to me. The cat's out of the bag now.
So the athletes have advanced in every way, and the equipment is actually a little even ahead of them, it would appear, based on what you're saying.
Well, what I'm saying is it would have been interesting to see when these athletes are bigger and stronger and they have better off-court training techniques, they have better ideas about diet, what they would have been like with the wood rackets. They've adapted just fine to these rackets. Just crush the ball from any spot on the court.
We're at a deuce again. Philippoussis trying to get to the tie break. Sampras to the set. Tough shot from Sampras. And a break point and a set point.
Watch Sampras here. Make sure he doesn't miss it, but keep it nice and low. Philippoussis stretch, not good enough.
Thank you.
Smiles from Delaney. Delaney and a fist pump from Sampras. He is somewhat relieved to be even here.
Somewhat is an understatement.
1-0.
Philippoussis was sure going for it on that shot. He wasn't shy. Delaney Mulcahy, Pete's girlfriend, saying, okay, now it's best of three. Set apiece.
There's a difference in experience. At deuce point, Sampras played a passing shot that he made sure at least went in. Philippoussis goes for too much on the next forehand.
Yeah, he ripped it.
You know, if it had gone in, we would have said, brilliant,
yeah, right.
gutsy move.
30.
Not a good swing that time. Going for the towel. Okay, now tell me the truth here for the fans at home. When they go for the towel, they made the mistake. They want to show you that, well, the handle was,
Absolutely.
You're right?
I wouldn't have missed it if it wasn't wet.
Exactly. Now, how much of the time is it actually too wet?
2%. It's not a very hot day today, so that grip is not sweating.
Sampras quickly to 40 love here, asserting himself in game one of the third set. And yet another ace for Sampras. Strong start. We're a set apiece. 1-love Sampras.
First game, third set.
Pete Sampras point. Love 15, Mark Philippoussis. Down. Love 1 here on the third. Set apiece.
You said that right, a well-manufactured. He really didn't deserve to win that point, but once he was given the opportunity, he jumped on it.
First set.
If Philippoussis can stay with him now, I'll be very surprised too much longer. Two good sets, but that last game of the second
First set.
started to show some signs of that inexperience and picking his spots.
We had a great example that you pointed out. You had Sampras playing a very carefully conceived shot, and then he had the kid going for the home run, and at the wrong time. It cost him.
15.
You see Sampras talking to himself. He knows he wants to get all over him right now. This is the time to take control of this match. And you know Philippoussis is still thinking about that forehand. One of the rare times he had the time to go after that return. Mishit the return. Philippoussis put it away rather easily. We look at his non-results in the Grand Slams.
Well, he's only been in the Australian, where he lost in the first round. His first year on the tour. I think we're going to be seeing him in some more Grand Slams.
Well, he was at Wimbledon, and his father asked the Wimbledon committee for a wild card, and they didn't give it to him, and he refused to play for the qualifying, which I think is a big mistake. Philippoussis, I would have overruled my dad there and said, look, I'm going to play the qualifying. I'll get in here the hard way if I have to.
6 double faults. There's Dad. How many times did you overrule your father?
Not too many, but in that case, I would have.
Just checking. Happen to know
I'll
your
think
dad.
of something. Another shot Philippoussis should have made right there. Now break point for Pete Sampras. This is a big point now for this youngster from Australia. I want to let Sampras get on a roll. Beautiful by Pete Sampras right there. Just the right thing.
There's the break for 2 love here in the third.
Sampras leads 2
What he
love.
did there was slice that return short. Philippoussis had to hit up on it. Played it a little bit safe because he's missed a couple of those big forehands, and Sampras just waited on it and guided it down the line for a winner.
$15 love.
15 love. Andrea Joyce is up where the Australian broadcasters are here in the stadium. Andrea?
That's right, Tim. And as you can imagine, this is a huge story in Australia. They were supposed to break away from the match between 4:30 and 5 and do a local newscast. They've decided to scrap the newscast, stay with the match. So Fred Stolle and John Newcomb are in there right now working overtime. Back to you guys.
John Newcomb on the right, Fred Stolle on the left. 2 great Australian stars. First pass. 16 aces now for Sampras. 30 love.
Well, American TV should take a lesson from that. Let's not go to the news every 30 minutes. That's a good shot by Philippoussis.
Next week they're going to be programming and selling for us also, John.
30-15.
30-15.
I've got just a commercial, too, to show.
Just happen to have one.
Just happen to have it
You
handy.
and Pete.
Philippoussis just happened to have that topspin lob handy. Problem is he was down 30 love. And Sampras starting to get his act together here.
Game point.
17 aces for Sampras. And a 3-love lead in the third.
Sampras leads 3 love.
The third set, they're a set apiece. Mark Philippoussis, 18-year-old, ranked number 93 in the world, and his first year on the tour, won the tiebreak in the first set.
30 love.
And hits his 7th ace. $30 love.
First serve.
Sampras with a break in game 2 here in the third.
$30-15.
7th double fault to go with his 7 aces.
Well, that's Philippoussis' tendency. He's going to hit a lot of aces. Actually, surprisingly few aces so far. Sampras clearly dominating in that department, but he does throw a lot of aces because he goes for a lot on the serve. Surprise Pete there. That's always a good play. Go behind your opponent. It's tough to stop. Go back the other way once again. It's a lot easier once you've gone a few steps to just accelerate than it would be to completely stop. And that's also tough on your body. That's why it's so much tougher to play on the hard courts physically than any other surface.
40-30.
40-30, eighth double fault for Philippoussis. Two of them in this game.
Deuce.
And we're at deuce. Let's go upstairs again to where Nuke and Fiery are calling it for Australian television.
Need to do. A lot of pressure on you, isn't there, when you hit short balls and someone's attacking you with a ferocity that Philippoussis has been attacking Sampras.
Try to overplay it. He measured it and put it close to the line, trying to get the tall man to stretch. Game point now, break point for Sampras to really get away to a 4-love lead here in set number 3. It's a tough serve to hit. You've served 2 double faults in this game down break point.
Well, so we gave you a little bit of Australian there. Fred Stolle and John Newcomb. Sampras with another break and a 4-love lead here in the third set.
Sampras leads 4-love.
Reminder that tomorrow, starting at 12:30 Eastern Time, our Labor Day coverage at the U.S. Open will include Boris Becker against Marc Rosset, Andre Agassi and Jared Palmer, Battle of the Americans, Monica Seles against number 11 seed Anke Huber. Lots more.
I'm not sure what match Nuke was watching there when he said Philippoussis was attacking with such ferocity, putting so much pressure on. Maybe that was the first set a little bit, but clearly not in the third set where Sampras has taken total control.
15-love for Sampras at 4-love here in the third.
30.
Make it 30.
And what a difference a forehand makes.
19 aces now. So we whipped through some NFL scores on this opening weekend.
First serve. First serve.
Sampras has taken the tension out of this match. 2 breaks here in the third set. Picking up his game and a little bit of sag on the part of the young opponent, Marc Philippoussis, ranked number 93 in the world.
Well, he decided to go for 2 first serves there, but he's up 4-love, 40-love in this set. It's not going to matter in this third set.
8th double fault for 40-15. Picking up his tempo, too. A little extra for Marc Philippoussis to win that rally.
40-30.
Sampras missed it a couple forehands. That one right there, nice and short. There's plenty of time for Philippoussis. jumps like Michael Chang into the ball and crushes it for a winner. You saw it earlier in the match. Tim takes a big swing on that forehand. He's got to learn how to shorten that up the closer he gets to net. When he learns to do that, he'll be very dangerous when he starts attacking the net. And Sampras got to be a little careful here. He doesn't lose his concentration. Things clearly going his way. A couple loose points after being up 40-love. That's the luxury of having 2 breaks, though. In case you blow one, even choke one, you still got another one up your sleeve. Well, there's that big swing again, but that's a good approach shot. Sampras off balance. Easy put away for Philippoussis there.
He's got a break point. He's down a break.
What a comeback this would be if he was able to come back in this set. Down 4-love, 40-love.
Second serve.
Down 2 breaks, I should say, as John's already pointed out, at 4-love. And the double.
Sampras leads 4-1.
And now, this tournament summary sponsored by DuPont. Better things for better living.
Our tournament summary tells us top 5 men's and women's seeds are all still alive, making this second week very interesting indeed. Of 19 men remaining, 8 are Americans in the men's draw. 3 men have yet to lose a set, including American Vince Spadea. Tim Ryan with John McEnroe on the stadium court. Mark Philippoussis coming off a break. At 4-1, Sampras leading in the 3rd set. They're a set apiece, 15-love.
It really was a surprisingly loose game. 2 different points in that last game. Sampras went for 2 first serves, doubled both times, including break point. Philippoussis a glimmer of hope in this set. And 2 easy points to go to 30-love.
Sampras opened the door a crack. Let's see if the youngster can get through it here. Still down a break in this 3rd set. Oh, dandy shot from Sampras.
30-15.
He just lunged for the previous shot, just barely got it back. Good adjustment here to get back. Philippoussis trying to go behind him on the run there. So you got to stop quick. Get yourself back in position. Good execution by Sampras. He's a lot quicker than people realize. That's in 2. He loves that shot. It looks like you're going to hit the winner. He opens that court, dares you go to the forehand, then he flicks it cross court. That was certainly not a bad shot from Philippoussis. Just inside the line.
This hit.
40-30.
Sort of is way in front of that serve is this interested spectator.
That's the bird's eye view from the top of the scoreboard.
The previous serve was probably the softest serve Philippoussis has hit the entire match, only 95 miles per hour. Sampras way in front of it. And that's why it's a good idea to mix them up. I mean, if a guy serves 120 miles an hour, sooner or later you're going to start picking up on it if he keeps doing it. So mix up that pace 100, 110, 120, slice it, hit topspin, go to the body, hit it out wide, try everything. Especially when you're playing the greats like Sampras.
Good return.
The only way you continue to serve the same way is if the guy's not getting the ball back at all.
Natasha Zvereva and Amy Frazier, 3-all in the first set on the grandstand court. The winner of that will meet Steffi Graf. Another break opportunity for Pete Sampras. He's up 1 here in the third set. Lost his footing there, couldn't get back for that shot. Well played by Philippoussis.
And this is also where Philippoussis had tried to change things up as far as serving Navone. He's lost his serve the last 3 times he served, just saved the break point there. Sampras starting to find the range. Try to cut off a couple of those returns. Even if briefly, just to make Sampras think he's going to do it. Or hit huge aces.
He's got 10, showing that scud speed again, up around 117. Sampras with 19 aces. Ninth double fault.
Another question, how long over a best-of-5 set match can Philippoussis keep up this pace? As we saw earlier, didn't play the French or Wimbledon, lost first round, I believe, in the Australian, so he hasn't had a lot of 5-set practice. No problem there.
Court by Sampras and Philippoussis.
Pete did a good thing there. He hit short backswing. When you got a guy who's serving that hard, you don't need to take a big backswing. Just use your opponent's pace. See Andre Agassi do that a bit. Just guide it right back up the line for a winner.
Philippoussis with his 11th ace gets the advantage back. And another 124 miles an hour to make it 4 games to 2. Sampras in the third. We're a set apiece on the stadium court at the USTA National Tennis Center. Third round men's action on an absolutely wonderfully gorgeous day in the New York area. Tim Ryan with John McEnroe and the rest of our CBS Sports US Open crew bringing you today's Sunday afternoon in the park. With Pete and Mark. John, looking back on this, for those who have joined us along the way, get a chance here. Give us your view of this match. How about now?
Well, I think Philippoussis showing surprisingly good poise early on. Sampras, not surprisingly, a little tentative, sort of waiting on Philippoussis, what he had to offer. The big turning point, obviously, that missed forehand in the second set at 6-5. That's what's turned things around here. Pete started to relax, although he did get a little careless. That 4-love game up 40-love. So he's got to be careful here. He's only got 1 break now. Now down love 30. I'm not sure what happened to Pete this last couple of games. We look at Pete's draw. He gets by here, he's going to have to play Todd Martin. Tough opponent in the round of 16. We've mentioned Byron Black's great run. Michael Steep also serving very big so far in this tournament, looking good. Sampras can't believe that he's still in this third set right now.
And at love 30. Oh, weak effort there.
I don't know what's happened this last couple of games, but he's totally lost concentration. That's his set number 12 double fault. That's a lot for Pete.
Thank you.
Triple break point for Philippoussis. That'll give the youngster a little life. He keeps kind of smacking the strings on his racket, so he's not quite happy with what he's getting out of it. And there's another double. And he has sent one racket out. We'll try and find out more about that. It's 4-3 in the third. Mark Philippoussis serving at 3-4 here in the third set. They're a set apiece on the stadium court. Sampras, 13 double faults to this stage of the match, 6 in the last 2 games.
Clearly doesn't like the tension in his racket right now. Not happy a bit.
30.
He's lost his feel totally. Perhaps he feels the strings are too loose. The ball's starting to fly on him. It's not extremely hot. You probably have 6 to 8 rackets in your bag. What I'd like to do is have a couple different tensions in case you've lost the feel for one, just go to another one. I think Pete likes to keep all of them the same, however, so it's not right. Like we saw earlier, he sent one out to get restrung.
And you can see him right there, John. He's been tapping and tapping and tapping those strings.
Second serve.
Should have one coming back in a couple of minutes. Definitely shaking his head right now. I can't believe that he's let this guy back in the third set. I can't either.
Just long. 30-15. You can see him looking at the strings again. And
well, he has a tendency to do that in general.
yeah. He does, John. He's finicky about them, but he just seems to be really bothered by it these last few games.
Isn't it amazing when you start losing a lot of points in a row, they start bothering you more, those rackets?
Right.
Got to be the strings, just like you were saying earlier. His grip was wet, now the strings aren't right for Pete Sampras.
Little pressure from Sampras. Philippoussis is wide. 40-30, trying to level at 4-all. Todd Martin's win earlier. Byron Black over Bjorkman. Michael Steek sharp against another Australian, Scott Draper. Thomas Muster dropped a set, won the next 3. Jim Courier impressive against Kenneth Carlson. You heard Tony Trabert say how well he played. Sophie Graf, Gabriella Sabatini winning easily. The deuce, couple of loose points by Philippoussis.
He clearly shouldn't have missed that backhand.
Advantage Philippoussis.
Well, good idea by Sampras. Put some pressure on the youngster. That ball a little bit too short. And once again, some nice ground strokes and passing shots from the big Australian.
That's too good.
Back behind the court, Sampras sees that, runs around his backhand, pulls that forehand up the line for a winner. Philippoussis at 53, although I think he's down in this set. Down to 44, yes, in this third set. He needs to pick that back up. Actually lucky to still be in this set. Make the most of it. Sampras loves that running forehand.
And he's got a break point. Tom Gullickson applauding.
A couple chances he could have come in there, chose to stay back, waited for that running forehand, and then went after that. Philippoussis needs a big first serve here. Not only did he hit a big serve, but he served and volleyed. Sampras didn't do much with either shot. Easy put away. Don't care who you are, it's tough to pass in those situations. Big serve out wide. Took a little something off it, but made sure it went in.
Youngster not eager to go away. Won't be 19 until November, playing with the poise of a veteran in his first year on the Pro Tour as an opponent of Wimbledon champion Pete Sampras. And he holds. Mental toughness shown by Philippoussis to even things at 4-all in the third.
4-game total. Most players, and probably players with more experience, would have thrown that third set away. The beauty of youth, just keep coming on. Back in this third set at 4-all.
15.
Two easy points for Pete Sampras there. You wonder why didn't he do that the last couple of games? Not a good first serve percentage for Pete either, and clearly winning almost all the points when he does get it in. Just not a comfortable serve volley player. Believes in his ground strokes obviously a little bit more than his volleying game.
Philippoussis went after that return.
40. You're down 40 love.
Why not?
Not a bad idea. Play by Sampras there. Take a step back, regroup. Rushed too much the other games where he lost, so he's not going to let this happen again.
Sampras holds for 5-4 in the third set. They're a set apiece. Mark Philippoussis serving at 4-5 here on the third, a set apiece against Pete Sampras. Tim Ryan with John McEnroe on the stadium court. Shadow is just starting to creep toward the doubles lane. Love. Pete Sampras defeated Fernando Meligeni of Brazil and Jaime Izaga, a revenge match from his loss a year ago here at the Open, the Peruvian. Philippoussis eliminated Paul Wikesa of Kenya and Mark Gellner of Germany.
Meligeni and Izaga, no type of preparation for this big guy. And neither player a big hitter.
Forty love.
No explanation as to why he missed that volley. Just looks a little flat once again. Probably still thinking about that 4-love lead.
Even at 5. Well, if you look up there from the stadium, you might be looking at the world's largest box of film, but no, that's not what it is. It's the Fuji blimp, providing an aerial arabesque of the Big Apple and much more. Looking down at the National Tennis Center. 5-all, Sampras. Delivers a fault.
Philippoussis hit a couple nice slice backhands, hit what he thought was a pretty good forehand, and Sampras just crushed the reply. A little frustrating. Frustrated shot that went in. A big serve to follow it up. Certainly made this third set a lot tougher than it needed to be.
His 20th ace of the match for Pete Sampras. Amy Frazier won the first set against the number 12 seed, Natasha Zverevsky.
Oh! 30-15.
Amy Frazier eliminated Mary Pierce, the number 6 seed. Hills, Michigan. She's doing well. Ooh, huge serve. 120 mile an hour. He really tapped that one off.
40-15.
40-15, Sampras.
You say Amy Frazier was 14 in the world?
Mm-hmm.
I don't know why she didn't get seeded, but maybe she just got points recently. Look at that forehand. Trading bombs at the moment.
40-30.
Hit a 110-mile-an-hour first serve. Didn't present any problem for Mark Philippoussis. Looked like he had plenty of time to hit that.
Center line ace. 6-5. Sampras in the third.
And we don't.
Mark Philippoussis serving, trying to force a second tiebreak. He won the first set tiebreak.
Some nice athletic ability.
Those of you following women's tennis, as we watch Philippoussis in that great diving volley by Sampras, allow me to correct the ranking of Amy Frazier, coming into the tournament at number 21. Having herself a fine shot so far off the set. Just
going to run that down.
Love 30.
2 big points from Sampras here in the 6-5 game.
Crowd alive, love 30, Philippoussis. Okay, he liked that chip and charge by Sampras.
Love 40. 2 very acrobatic forehand volley winners.
3 set points. for the Wimbledon champion.
And that was not an easy shot, by the way, to handle from off Pete Sampras' racket. See if he tries to chip and come in again. And chip, but he didn't come in. Philippoussis decided it'd be better off for me to come in. Good play there. Sampras handcuffed by that heavy topspin off the forehand side. Still got a couple more set points. Would love another chance at a second serve. And here it is.
What's he do here?
I think you're going to see a different play than the last point. Come in, even if he loses the point, still got another break point. And try something different then.
Handcuffed. Sampras. 2 sets to 1. 7-5 in the third. On the service break.
Well, Philippoussis is trying to do the right thing, coming in off that short ball. Sampras with some heavy topspin. Tough shot to handle there. Clips just the top of the net. The nets here much tighter than they are at Wimbledon. You get a more forgiving let cord than there. Why they don't all have the nets the same tension, I don't know.
So the number 2 seed, everybody follows tennis, hoping for a Sampras-Agassi championship match, 1 against 2. Now with a 2 sets to 1 lead over the 18-year-old upstart from Melbourne. Ranked number 93 in the world, Mark Philippoussis.
Not for long.
22 aces now for Sampras. Make it 23. Look at this. O'Brien and Sandin-Stali over Elting and Harhus, the number 1 seeded doubles players in the men's draw. Straight sets. They're up 2 sets to 1. That score. And Sampras rolls here to the first game of the 4th set.
First game, 4th set.
Mark Philippoussis serving at love 1 here on the 4th set, down 2 sets to 1 now to Pete Sampras, and now love 15. Pretty large demand on the 18-year-old from Australia to come back against the number 2 seed, 3-time consecutive Wimbledon champion. And a man who has quite an extraordinary record in this tournament.
Well, that's an incredible record. Sampras win almost 9 out of 10 matches he's played here.
Isn't too shabby.
Jimmy Connors got seeded here 18 years in a row. Ivan Lendl also got here the finals, what was it, 8 straight times? That's pretty phenomenal as well.
8-time champ.
15-30.
You got to wonder if Philippoussis is going to start running out of steam here. How much he's got left in the tank. It's got to be somewhat depressing. You're down 4 love, 40 love, get it back to 4 all, and then lose the set anyway. Recovery by Philippoussis there, and a big point for him. Just barely got this one back. Sampras on the attack. That ball a little bit too short. That's an excellent hustle and an excellent shot from a tough position. Strong kid to be able to pull that cross court for a winner. It pays dividends for him. Big ace the next point.
14 aces for Philippoussis. And the youngster holds on to even things at 1-all. Let's go to Andrea Joyce.
All right, Tim, I'm back with Paul Anacone. Pete seemed pretty unhappy with his rackets in the third set. What do you suspect the problem was?
Well, judging from past experience, I think probably his strings just loosened up a bit, and he likes his rackets real tight, and they've been sitting out in the sun for a couple hours now, so I'm sure the tension just loosened up, and that probably didn't help. But 4-0-40 love didn't help either, so I'm sure it was a combination. And he got through it, and hopefully he can keep the momentum going.
Is he as finicky about his rackets as everybody says he is?
Yeah, I think all these guys that play it to slow, particularly that I think have a lot of feel, tend to like their rackets strung a certain way, and Pete does, and it's no one's fault, just they've been sitting out in the sun for a couple hours now. And as tight as he strings them, it drops some tension pretty quickly.
So how does he finally shake this guy in the fourth set?
Well, I think, the third set he showed a sign of the way he should play. Get a lot of balls back, get him back low and get into the points and dictate his service games. And then lost his concentration on a couple service games, threw in 3 doubles on one game. And it was a little bit of an emotional roller coaster ride for him, but he bounced back and played a good game at 5-6. So he's just got to keep the pressure on, especially on his service games, and his chances will come on the return game.
Hey, thanks a bunch. Back to you guys.
Thanks, Andrea. Nice shot. 30-15, Sampras at 1-all here in the fourth.
Actually, Tim, they called that wide. Looked like a great shot from this angle. I thought it looked good, too. Let's take a look here.
Now the crowd reacting. They thought it was good.
Well, I thought it looked like on the back of the line, yeah. Looks like it caught the back of the outside of the line there. Sampras broke a string.
Yeah, he didn't. But he holds on for a 2-1 lead here in the fourth. Mark Philippoussis is serving at 1-2, down 2 sets to 1 here in the fourth.
15 more.
He won the opening set in a tiebreak, 7-6. Sampras then 2 highly contested sets, 7-5 each. Sampras up 2-1 here in the fourth.
Good play by Philippoussis there. Serve volley on the second serve. Continue to mix things up. This youngster is playing an excellent match.
Not much to choose on the scoreboard between the two players, number 93 and number 2 in the world.
And this is certainly going to help him in the future, even if he loses this match, because most players don't play nearly the caliber Sampras. So playing a guy like Pete Sampras, you realize the other guys, hey, I can beat these other guys. This is about the best you're going to get. Certainly off the serve. Now he's got to try to play Agassi from the backcourt, and then I'll really be impressed.
Good serving by Philippoussis. 2-all in the fourth. Been a really interesting day here, exciting, and the introduction of a upcoming star. Well, tomorrow we've got lots more action on our Labor Day Monday coverage starting at 12:30 Eastern. You'll see Boris Becker, the number 4 seed, against Marc Rosset. Andre Agassi in an American matchup with double specialist Jared Palmer. And Monica Seles takes on number 11 seed Anke Huber. And lots more action, too. With the amount of time we'll have for you, 5.5 hours. Well, The Gulls have come in here to catch the excitement of this Sampras-Philippoussis match. Ready to light it up for us.
Yeah, they sure look excited.
30 love.
Shadows almost entirely across the stadium court. Nearly 5:40 p.m. Eastern Time.
Thirty 15.
Another good idea by Philippoussis. Come in on that second serve, put some pressure on the number 2 seed, number 2 player in the world at the moment. This guy's a good athlete. Covers the court well. As soon as he positions himself a little bit better, his rankings are going to keep going higher and higher.
6'4", 202 pounds. That's the 14th double fault by Pete Sampras.
Surprisingly high there for Pete. Usually has good control on that serve. But give credit to Philippoussis once again, because he's hit an awfully heavy ball. A lot of pace on it, so Pete's probably going for a little bit more than he's comfortable with.
Big serve from Sampras for 3-2 in the fourth. He's up 2 sets to 1.
Sampras leads 3-2.
On the stadium court, Mark Philippoussis of Australia, Pete Sampras of the United States. Third round men's action.
Oh, that's just a great point by both players.
Wonderful point. And the great champion Sampras with the winning shot.
Both players showing excellent athletic ability. Good stretch there by Philippoussis, and smart decision there by Sampras. Saw Philippoussis was too close to the net. And once again, not an easy shot to hit.
Love 15 at 2-3. Sampras leading 2 sets to 1.
Just the right time to step on the gas pedal a little here. See how the champions learn from the mistakes. Philippoussis has had some success with that cross-court angle backhand passing shot. This time Pete was waiting for it. Got a little break as well. It wasn't out by much. An inch or less. A couple whistles from the crowd. No complaint from Pete Sampras.
$15.30. Trying to turn. Ducking and diving.
That's what you want to do with the big guys. Make them bend. Not only is it a tough shot to hit, but it's going to fatigue them. Get the legs tired.
2 break points for a 4-2 lead in the fourth, up 2 sets to 1. There it is for Sampras. A break and a 4-2 lead. Up goes the thumbs up sign. Now in command here in the fourth set. Over in the grandstand, Amy Frazier up a set on number 12 seed Natasha Zvereva. They're on serve in the second set. Frazier has already eliminated number 6 seed Mary Pierce.
Philippoussis showing a little inexperience on that previous point. Had a couple chances to be more aggressive and paid the price. He learns quickly. Good move there.
Very agile for a big man, isn't he, John?
Good athlete.
15.
You got to figure he's only going to get better. Only 18 years old. Sampras knew he should have done a little bit more with that pass, but still a great shot from Mark.
Good return.
Sampras been a little bit tentative at net today, not volleying as well as I think he would like. Don't forget, he was up 40 love in the third set, so this is not over quite yet. Another great play by Mark Philippoussis. A replay of the first point, except this time hits a good forehand volley. Chips and comes in, nice and deep. Good stretch, good athletic move. Love 40.
Philippoussis with his chance. 3 of them.
15.
What a difference when you get those first serves in. All the great players play those big points better than the players ranked below them. Good test here for Sampras if he can sneak out of this game.
Does he favor a place on his first serve on those big points?
I wish I knew. But
well, at least you don't have to think about it too often anymore.
But thanks for asking. Big shot under pressure. Big shot under pressure. Philippoussis did the right thing. It's a good approach shot. And look at Pete's reaction here. He knows how big a point that was. It's probably the biggest backhand he's hit in this match. Athletic move by Sampras. They're trading punches right now. Philippoussis had a lot of pace on that, a lot of top spin. That was a tough shot to handle. Look how well Sampras gets down for this. Almost fell over.
With a flourish, Pete Sampras to 5-2 here in the fourth. U.S. Open Greek division could be settled here unless Mark Philippoussis can keep alive here. He's down 2-5, and now love 15 as Sampras with another brilliant backhand.
Love 15.
Mark down this name, Philippoussis. Mark Philippoussis. You'll hear and see more of him. All.
15.
Booster battling back, bageled in the first set. Courier sharp against Kenneth Carlson. Groff easily over Chanda Rubin, who's having a great year. Sabatini stopping the 14-year-old.
Certainly put some effort into those 2 forehands.
There's the crowd's father. No matter the result of this match, what an experience for this 18-year-old from Melbourne.
Well, he's definitely taken a couple steps forward here, win or lose. If he wins this, he just won the 100-yard dash forward, though. He's come back from this position. 40. Well, step one, make Sampras serve it out. Hold your own serve, put some pressure on number 2 seed. Philippoussis appears poised to do just that.
And Mark Philippoussis holds serve here. Tonight on CBS, start out with 60 Minutes, followed by Murder, She Wrote, and the CBS Sunday movie, For the Love of Aaron, starring Meredith Baxter, all tonight on CBS. Pete Sampras at 5-3 here in the 4th set, serving for the match.
That's a great effort by Philippoussis. And the crowd appreciates it.
15 love.
Pete Sampras had a big serve out wide to his phone. He was lucky to get that back. Kept plugging away. 30 too good. Now another big first serve. 122 miles per hour takes him to 30 love. And 2 points from a 4th round encounter with fellow American Todd Martin. Big serve.
26 aces now for Sampras. All hail to the American Greek. We're going to concede this one to him. 40 love.
They always say the toughest game to win is the last one. It doesn't look like it right now. 3 big serves to match point.
There's the champion. And a star is born on Stadium Court in the losing cause. Mark Philippoussis, not yet 19. A battle royal against the great Pete Sampras, just 24 years of age, as Sampras continues his march to what everybody hopes will be a championship matchup against fellow American Andre Agassi. But there are other guys in between. Next for him will be Todd Martin. Michael Stiek looking sharp. The number 8 seed. Boris Becker playing awfully well, the number 4 seed.
Well,
another full week to go, John.
Let's give a lot of credit to this young Australian. Both players, actually. Both players played extremely well in spots.
Terrific performance by both these players. Let's go to Andrea Joyce.
All right, Tim. Pete, congratulations on a hard-fought victory. It seemed like it was a little tough for you to find your rhythm today.
Well, I mean, his serve was coming in so big. His first serve, I was having a hard time reading it. Second serve was really kicking up to my back, and I was having a hard time either chipping it or going over it. I was really kind of confused out there. Up 4 love, 40 love, you know, things were going smooth, and I'm just like an idiot, you know. All of a sudden, we're on serve, you know, the match could switch around, but it was a match. It was very dangerous, and the guy hits out on every shot, and it was a hard-fought match, and I played pretty well when I had to, but, you know, I think I need to play a little bit better as the tournament goes on.
What about the 3rd set? What was the problem with the rackets?
Well, my strings were breaking, and that's not good. But, you know, I string was so tight with such a thin gut. You know, I was just so pissed off at myself. I really was. 4 love, 40 love. Top 2 breaks. I mean, that's a routine 6-1 set, and I just couldn't believe I was in a situation where I was struggling to win that 3rd set. But it's over now. I'm still in the tournament, but I need to get better.
So you got your buddy Todd Martin in the next round. You guys going to golf first or just play?
I think at this point in time, we're just going to go out and play. I mean, Todd's a great player. Doesn't really have too many flaws in his game. I just need to play a little bit better and return a little bit better, and hopefully I can still stay here.
All right, Pete, you deserve the night off. Congratulations again. Now let's go over to Pat O'Brien.
All right, he deserves the night off and maybe a round of golf as well. So Pete Sampras advances here in the 1995 U.S. Open, and I'm sure he's glad to get off of that court and away from his opponent today and move into the locker room, shower, and get out of here and get some rest. Tomorrow, join us.
Open, a USTA event, has been sponsored by Visa. It's everywhere you want to be. Fujifilm, a new way of seeing things. And by NEC, a leader in multimedia technologies. See, hear, and feel the difference.
weekend here in New York City, and some of the best tennis players in the world are laboring for all of us over this long weekend. We're glad you could join us, and we'll see you tomorrow for more championship tennis. Big time New York tennis. Be careful out there. See you tomorrow.